Susanna, do you want to tell people how did religion influence shame and guilt with you, and then we could get Dr. Daryl Ray to analyze what went wrong, what happened here. How about that? Let's go.
Okay. I'm just like sitting quietly in the corner, like, uh, it's it's still like something I have difficulty talking about. It's very easy for me to have a Catholic shame spiral, as I call it. So, part of me is like, why did I sign up for this? Um, so, um, oh my God, I don't even know where to begin. Um, Based on how people talk about me growing up as a child, like I remember reading a note from my daycare person who gave a letter to my mom that she'd write at the end of every year. I'm taking care of this. So this is me at the age of 4. What I remember from this note, because my mom, keeps all this stuff, is like Susanna always enjoyed dressing down more than dressing up. Like the other girls. And so obviously in a Catholic family, like that's not okay. Um in fact, I think it's the way I internalized it is that that's actually dangerous. Um
Yeah.
Maybe in a attempt to actually protect me. Me trying to be empathetic and give the benefit of the doubt to my parents. So there's so much messaging I got around sex and sexuality, primarily that it is dangerous, that it will hurt you, that I was never really allowed a lot of information around it. And so me being a young person in this day and age, my response was to go seek that information out myself, right?
Right.
It's all
Which
around
any
me.
healthy, intelligent person would do. Yeah,
Yes,
great.
because it's in the culture all around me. It's also not even just the culture; it's a fact of life. And I'm curious. I'm a young woman. I want to understand. And so, but it was always communicated like, this is bad, don't do it, but never explained why.
Right.
And so well, a lot of other things about the general influence of Catholicism. This, like, I almost feel like there's something specifically so Catholic about this culture of silence, just like silence around certain topics. That it just became ingrained in my personality to seek out the taboo. Because no one is explaining to me why this is forbidden. It's just forbidden. Don't do it. Don't touch it. Don't look. And when we catch you seeking out information, when we catch you being curious, you're going to be punished for it.
Right.
So there is nothing in my life that I was faced as many consequences for in my family unit than sex and sexuality.
Right.
Did you experience any internal? Because I personally, when it comes to Islam, I experienced a lot of not just outside pressure from family and community, but also internal guilt and shame with my own thoughts. Did you experience any of
I
that as
mean,
well?
you know the answer to this, sir. The answer is yes to this day. So yeah, still, I've gotten a lot better. Like literally within this year is the first year that things have like started to turn around for me. Um, but I mean, when you're told that um, it's bad, it's dirty, and then specifically the things that you happen to be curious about are particularly bad, dangerous, worthy of disgust, condemnation, utter disdain. Um, it you feel, I mean, I literally last year, last October, I remember having a breakdown, sobbing over how broken I felt. That it wasn't fair that other people my age, I was only 23 at the time, could go and just have sex and enjoy themselves and explore themselves and other people and just be carefree, and I couldn't, because I knew that if I did that, it would be it just because of all the indoctrination, just like shatter my sense of self.
Right.
The depths of it just triggers my self-loathing deeply. And because it triggers my self-loathing so deeply, or did, I'm better now, I couldn't even approach it, and I felt so broken over the shame.
What you've described is something I think is important to realize, is that religions like Catholicism, but also Islam, Baptists, they all create a terror of sex and sexuality,
Mm-hmm.
and a loathing of our own bodies,
Mm-hmm.
which means that we skip developmental stages that are really important for humans. So you oftentimes skip in the prepubescence or adolescence entire stages where you feel shamed even being attracted to another person,
Mm-hmm.
or you feel great guilt about touching your genitals and masturbating. Those stages are important as humans, and we know in other animals, if you force an animal to skip a developmental stage, in their later stages, they will not act appropriately for their species. In fact, they won't act appropriately in this way. If you take any rat or a possum or any kind of mammal, and you screw up its adolescence, so to speak, when it gets to be of mating age, it may not know how to mate. It will literally never learn the ability to mate. Well, we see a lot of that in our society, where people lose the ability to mate with other people or to match up with other people because they never had a good adolescence. They don't know how, a boy does not know how to talk to a girl respectfully because he's never seen that modeled anywhere. And a girl doesn't know how to actively seek out a boy that she's attracted to without feeling guilty, or to even touch her own body without feeling guilty. And that's what I hear you describing, Susanna. You were describing someone who missed a developmental phase of your life.
Wait, so does that mean that they're damaged beyond repair now?
No, not at all. No,
Okay.
But it just means she's got a hard job ahead of her, and she's telling us right now that she's working. Sound like she's doing a good job. But think about this. What if she'd never been exposed to that bullshit and was allowed to go through a sex positive adolescent? What would she be talking about with us today?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, I gasped when you said that, because that's literally what my therapist was saying to me recently. She was like, the word she used was stunted. And
Right.
It really hit me. I was like, oh my God, you're so right. She's like, this is a part of you that was stunted from like the age of 8 or 9.
Yes.
And
right.
it's to the point that she literally, I mean, again, just over the past couple of months, I've improved so much. I'm really proud of myself. Like it's incredible that I can even talk about it like publicly. Seriously. She literally mandated that I go on dates. She like made it my homework.
Good for her.
She's like, Susanna, you're never going to grow past this if you don't go practice.
Right.
And like allow yourself to practice, especially
Yes.
coming from a very Abrahamic background. Like it's this idea that I had ingrained, this understanding that if I date anyone, I'm already just on dating, entering that, believing that I have to be prepared to marry this person.
Yeah,
That's insane.
It is insane. You're right. If you go back, I mean, if you do a little mental exercise, Susanna, or anyone, it's not just Susanna. Go back and look at what were kids. Let's say a kid that grew through a family that was sex positive. Maybe they were a kid that grew up in a family that was 2 gay parents, but they're very sex positive, or they're straight parents, but they're sex positive. What was that child doing at 13, 14, 15, 16? what were the lessons they were getting? What was the behavior they were allowed to do? What skills were they being taught? And those are the skills you did not get taught. But what were you being taught? You were being taught the opposite of that, the negative of that, that your body is your enemy, that looking at other people is sinful, that you can't touch your own body, that you can't go on dates because that means you're going to marry him. I mean, all these it's almost the mirror image of sex positivity. And
that
so
your mind and heart is going down the gutter.
Yeah, exactly. So Armin, in answer to your question, she is simply learning the skills, and her therapist has figured this out. She's simply learning the skills she missed when she was 14 years of age.